Follow me on Twitch where I stream every single day. Get to know me better by following on my Discord, which will be the link in the description. Follow me on my social medias, and yeah, let's get into the video. I miss Mega Evolution. That was easily the greatest incorporation of Pokemon that Game Freak has added in the past 20 years of its run. What did Z-moves bring to the table? They were only around for literally one generation. We had Mega Evolution in two generations when it counted Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire as remakes of Gen 3, which they were. Look at it this way. Mega Evolution changed the game. Z-moves, those were just incorporated just to get rid of Mega Evolution for some weird reason. Probably because Mega Rayquaza was just so unstoppably broken, to whereas it broke the Ubers tier. I remember that. And Gigamax and Gigantamaxing, pretty cool concepts, I won't lie. I sort of like those concepts. I don't know. Personally, I like to think that Dynamaxing and Gigantamaxing are solely exclusive to the Galar region alone. Seeing as the budget for the battle facilities are astronomical in the Galar region compared to other regions such as Kanto, especially in Alola, who recently just established their Pokemon League, I felt like the Galar region's Pokemon battle budget for their league was way higher than any other region, seeing as they have actual stadiums for their gyms. To be honest, I personally prefer Pokemon Sword and Shield, and I actually like the games. Of course, I just stopped the internet for going on a tangent of how bastardized these games are compared to the previous generations. And I agree there are some faults with it here and there, and personally I believe so just from the fact that the previous Pokemon games established a nostalgic feeling that we've all nurtured from previous and past Pokemon experience. We haven't received games that actually made us feel like children, or made us feel like the Pokemon world was as vibrant as alive as, say, Generation 4, 5, and maybe 7. But that doesn't mean that Pokemon Sword and Shield are the worst. Personally, I feel like the weakest Pokemon interpretation is probably Generation 6. But, that doesn't mean that Pokemon Sword and Shield are safe. Now, I'd like to establish by saying in this video, I'm not going to be bastardizing these videos as well as hard as Audition has. I'm going to be explaining their benefits as well. And what I want to start by saying is that Pokemon Sword and Shield brought the Pokemon world to a new level of formula. They broke certain formulas that previous Pokemon games have established over and over again. First off, it's the first time they've done it, but they finally got rid of the HM system. And I cannot be more appreciative of that. I mean, considering that this game's budget for the battle facilities are enormous, there should be a reason as to why they were able to incorporate these very intriguing and beneficial services to whereas you don't have to break rocks, have your bird fly to every single city in a goddamn region, which is enormous by the way, have a freaking water type Pokemon or normal type. I mean, Surf is actually a pretty common move that a lot of Pokemon can learn. Surf you all over the borders of the region like you're in freaking Hoenn, which has way too much water. Pokemon Sword and Shield definitely has something that I really appreciate that no other Pokemon game had. They had the best Pokemon League I've ever witnessed in a game. Well, maybe not in a game. There are certainly some fan games whereas Pokemon League is just a movie. But this game actually made the Pokemon League feel like an actual league. It certainly felt like a tournament that anybody could participate in. Now, what I will say about the previous Pokemon games is that they made the Pokemon League feel so stagnant, feel so impersonal, if I make any sense. The Pokemon League in previous games, say Pokemon Generation 4, 5, 6, every other Pokemon generation before this, made the Pokemon League feel so impersonal and systematic. Let's see what the Pokemon League is actually interpreted to be in accordance to the anime. The Pokemon League is supposed to be interpreted as this countrywide tournament. Do you know Battle City from Yu-Gi-Oh? That's what the Pokemon League is supposed to be. A countrywide tournament where every single trainer can participate in from any parts of the world, as long as they're just in that native region. They don't even need to be from the native region. They just have to arrive at the region, ask to participate, and they're officially qualified. Just so long as they have their Pokemon license. Or a Pokedex, whatever one. I don't know. They really don't need to expand the requirements of being a trainer in the Pokemon world. And in this game, they did that perfectly. Pokemon League actually felt like a world countrywide tournament that any Pokemon trainer can participate in if they just so have the desire to be the very best. And by doing this, they actually incorporated some pretty intriguing rivals to the game. Now, the thing about Pokemon Rivals is that it's so easy, yet so tedious to create an ideal Pokemon rival. Now, what everyone has been wanting for a rival is forever evolving. People wanted this rival that always made us hate them. We wanted to beat them. We wanted to show that we were superior to them. People wanted these rivals that we could have a respectful acquaintanceship with, but not so acquainted to whereas they don't feel more as a rival anymore, but more of, say, cheerleader or begrudgingly stubborn teammate. Or these Pokemon rivals, whereas they're not even considered rivals. They're just companions that we tend to battle here and there, just to show that we evolved on our journey as much as our Pokemon has. And to be honest, I like every one of these rivals. I personally like the rivals in Generation 6. They felt like actual companions. I couldn't even call them rivals. No, they're not rivals, they're your companions. Serena was probably the friendliest rival we ever had in a Pokemon game that wasn't just a straight up friend. She's someone that we actually desired to battle against, someone that I actually had fun battling against. She was certainly competent, certainly knowledgeable, to where she was instructing us and mentoring us in certain fields of what to do as a trainer. Teaching us how to battle, teaching us how to capture, teaching the other companions how to battle and capture and train the Pokemon. She's very competent. And though I love Serena, I have to say that the best interpretation of a companion rival easily goes to Sharon and Byakuya from Black and White. I'll give them their own separate video because there's so much I can talk about them that's just magnifique. Now in Sword and Shield, we have a total of 3 rivals. We have Bed, or Bede, I don't know how to pronounce his name. We have Marnie, and we have Hop. Now, first of all, I'm just going to say this out front, I don't really like Hop. I really think that he's just Hal, but reincarnated into a different region. I don't know what time period Generation 8 takes place compared to Generation 7. But, I don't know, he just feels like an alternate universe if, say, Hal was born in Galar instead of Alola, if he died and was reincarnated in Galar instead of Alola. But this guy is literally Hal with a champion for a brother. There's nothing really that intriguing about Hal's character. He seems to be the typical best friend next door type of rival, to whereas he claims that he's going to be the best. Clearly he's not, seeing as we exist in the game. His brother is the champion, which is actually a very intriguing relationship that I wish they would have expanded on. And, well, they certainly have had some intriguing arcs for Hop, to whereas near the end of the game, I honestly respected this guy a lot more than I did during the beginning of the game. He caught the rival legendary Pokemon, which I always wanted in a Pokemon story, to whereas our rival was actually our rival, you know? How can he be our rival if we have a legendary Pokemon in our party, but he doesn't have anything to compete with that? Who is our rival's answer to freaking Mewtwo in Generation 1? What is Blue gonna have? Mew? That'd actually be really cool. But yeah, Hal started off being this very typical boring side character that I didn't think that the game was going to expand, but actually turned out to be a pretty cool character. I don't like how they changed its goal from being a world professional trainer to being a Pokemon professor. I thought that was a very big shift in character, and it didn't really build up to that, like how in the Pokemon anime they built up Brock from being a Pokemon breeder to being a Pokemon doctor. That felt natural. Hal's changing ideologies from being a trainer to a Pokemon professor felt very weird and out of nowhere. I mean, what do you have a legendary Pokemon in your party for if it's going to be a Pokemon professor? They could have at least had an interesting arc where he left the region to go travel around the world like in Generation 7 with Flareon and Lily. Anyway, that's Hop. He's pretty cool. Just wish that they treat his character with a little bit more respect. Next, we have Marnie. Marnie is the trainer we honestly don't get to see fleshed out that much at all. I mean, I thought that she was going to be playing a pretty significant part of the story from when we see her enduring all those trailers, but she really didn't expand the lore of the world of Galar that much at all. I mean, her brother is one of the gym leaders, which was pretty cool, but we already have a rival character whose relationship with their brother is a little bit more significant, seeing as Hop's brother is the freaking champion compared to Marnie's brother, who's a gym leader. Not even the strongest gym leader. I mean, the strongest gym leader in the region is Raihan. And Pierce, his design is freaking awesome, don't get it twisted, but Pierce is certainly the weirdest character in the show. I said show. Certainly the weirdest character in the game, but weird in a good way. He's certainly a different formula, a different flavor of ice cream compared to all the other characters we've seen. And so is Marnie. Her attitude is very stoic, lacking any sort of expression, but not lack of emotion to whereas she's Cyrus. She's just very secure and reclusive, very quiet. She has her own support group in Team Yell. And her battles with her are actually very well received. We don't battle her as much as Hop or even as much as Beth, but her battles, when we do get them, I actually really appreciate it because they're so rare. Among them, I would say she's probably the weakest just from how significant of character growth and power the other two rivals portray. I feel like he was just added in order to incorporate another rival so that the Pokemon game would be a bit more intriguing and make it feel more like a league battle. And I can appreciate that. So the fact that they tried, I could definitely appreciate. So I won't hold that to Game Freak. Last but not least, we have Bed, or Bede. How the hell do you pronounce this guy's name? First of all, when I first saw Bede, I really thought that he was going to be a psychic type trainer. I had no idea that he was going to be the fairy type gym leader. And if fairy type never existed, this kid really would be a psychic type trainer. And this is the rival that everybody's been waiting for. He's definitely the asshole of the group. Here's what I put these three trainers in their different categories. Hob would certainly be the brotherly rival of the group. Hob would certainly be more of the brotherly companion rival. Marnie would be the respectful acquainted rival. But Bede would be the asshole rival. This is the rival that if you had the option to name him, you would definitely name him Walking Tampon. Anyway, I really like Bede. But like is a strong word. I would say I like to hate Bede, if that makes any sense. And it certainly does. Because we've all wanted a rival that we really wanted to hate for a very long time. And we haven't gotten a rival like that since Blue from Generation 1. And because there are certainly other rivals that try to betray themselves as Blue, and personally I think the best rival in Pokemon history is Silver, due to the fact that he starts off as the same asshole rival as Blue, giving off the same vibes from him, but he definitely had more layers to him than Blue, instead of just being this arrogant douchebag. Silver has a pretty tragic backstory being the son of Giovanni. And Bede doesn't have anything like that. He gives all the same interpretation as Blue, being as arrogant and cocky as Blue would be, but for a different reason. For one reason, Blue gave off the impression of being arrogant just from the fact that he's your rival. He's meant to be better than you. He contrasts you. He's Blue, your name is Red. It's not that deep of a rivalry, but with Bede's arrogance comes from his privileged nature. Bede grew up as an orphan, and he was given his chance for greatness by the Chairman Rose. Feeling so prestige, Bede actually had the ideology that he was meant for greatness, that he would conquer the Pokemon League in order to show Chairman Rose his greatest admiration and respect. And it actually layers Bede out to be not just incredibly arrogant, but also incredibly loyal and grateful to the people that actually give him a chance to believe in him. It makes the fact that Chairman Rose retracted his recommendation for Bede to enter the Pokemon League by disqualifying him a little bit more heartbreaking. Cool thing that it came back and actually crashed the Pokemon Stadium ceremony by challenging us to a battle as the new Fairy-type gym leader. That was pretty cool. But now that we got the characters out the way, let's talk about the story of Pokemon Sword and Shield. And here's the thing, there really isn't any story. Pokemon Generation 8 story is literally centered around the Pokemon League. That's it. And what I mean by this is that despite these few altercations we have with Chairman Rose wanting to complete the Darkest Day, we really don't encounter any other altercations in the entire game. There are very few battles we have against Team Yell, but Team Yell isn't a villainous team. They're a cheerleader group. There's really no villainous team in this game besides an antagonist in Chairman Rose. Now, depending on what you stand amongst Pokemon fandom, you either hate this or you love this change. Me personally, I'm the latter. Don't get me wrong, I love the previous games where we're one of the only few trainers that are able to stop this world-altering conquest attempting evil team. But a game to where we're just a simple Pokemon trainer trying to conquer the Pokemon League, it's oddly refreshing, considering that's the entire premise of both the games and the anime. But on the other hand, it lacks the sort of message and nuance and nostalgia feelings that previous Pokemon games have. And to be honest, either way you look at it is fine. It's the right way to look at it. Me personally, I can totally see why this game would be considered a very bastardized and weak version of previous Pokemon games. Compare the story of Generation 8 to other previous Pokemon games. Pretty lacking compared to other Pokemon games and generations, considering that it only expands the lore of the Galar region, which despite itself is a very unique region considering its battle facilities and the region just being ridiculously big. But compared to the actual Pokemon games, region, world, and lore, it's a grain of sand amongst a desert. But Generation 8 doesn't really have that. Generation 8 has no hidden message within the core of the game. So I guess you could say that Generation 8 compared to the other generations is probably a little bit boring in comparison. And I can certainly see why you would think that. But I guess that what Generation makes up for with its very weak storytelling, even in comparison to Generation 6. Personally, I think there is a hidden message in Generation 8, but I think it's a little bit more subtle than other previous generations, something that's not spoken to us very directly, and I think it's more hidden than the meta of within the game. I think the message in Generation 8 is innovation versus tradition. Seeing as Generation 8 definitely changed the formula of previous Pokemon games, whereas we have a very open world designed for Pokemon, whereas the wild Pokemon are incorporated into the real open world. You can see them, you can interact with them, they can chase you. And in the Island DLCs, you can actually have your Pokemon follow you around like in Generation 2, so they definitely respect the tradition of Pokemon in order to incorporate previous incarnations and mechanics from old games into this current new established one. So you can tell that the people definitely respect the previous series and gens, so why is it so hated? Why is it so bastardized? Well, maybe that's because of its own themes. Because the fandom is so used to the tradition of the series, we not only predict or expect, but finalize the inevitability of future cliches. Think about how many YouTube videos talk about future evil teams of the region, or the prophetic encounter of the legendary Pokemon, or the prestige of the protagonist compared to others in the region. We are all so used to the previous tradition of Pokemon, where you wake up in the morning inside your house, you meet your rival, you get your starter Pokemon, You enter the Pokemon tournament, you defeat the villainous team and save the world, you defeat the champion, get the legendary Pokemon, end credits. They constantly attempt to make a more riveting story with greater stakes and better villains, but in this game, it's the most simple, and that's where the strength lies. Because it's the game that treats you as if you were some random trainer in the world with some natural born talent and lucky encounters. Why do you think the character customization for this game is the best in this series? Because you're not red, you're not gold, or the child of prophecy from Black and White. You're just you. It's literally if you were in a Pokemon world. If you were in a Pokemon anime. Pokemon Generation 8 bridges the gap between the games and the anime better than any other Pokemon game has done recently. You actually can encounter wild, final evolved Pokemon. No other Pokemon game has ever let you capture these wild, evolved, incredibly powerful Pokemon up to level 60. They made the Pokemon world more alive, made it more vibrant, more colorful, gave it more character, made it more real, made it feel like an actual world. The formula has changed, and I don't think we're going back anytime soon. Okay, so my final verdict on Pokemon Sword and Shield, do I think it's a good Pokemon game? Yes, I do. Do I think it's the best? No, I put that somewhere in the middle. If you guys want to hear my personal preference on what I think is the worst and best Pokemon game on a tier list, then that's going to be a future video. But for now, I think I talked about everything I want to talk about, so that's going to be the conclusion of this video. So yeah, I'm pretty sure all of you probably hate me by now because my opinions are probably woefully different than yours, so be sure to unsubscribe, don't comment, don't share this video with your friends, don't comment down and below unless you want to be very toxic, and I accept that by all means. And yeah, guys, it's your Generous Prince, and I am out. Peace.